Hi guys. Sorry. Yeah. As you guys can see, my uncle came out and I thought it was my mom, so I had closed everything. Hi everyone. As y'all can see by the title, I'm going to be reading a bkdk fanfiction. I've already read the first 4 chapters, so if you weren't here for the last stream that was like 2 seconds ago, ask somebody in the chat to explain because I can't type it all out. Thank you. bkdk. I love bkdk. Yay. Okay, there's more people this time. All right. So what's going to happen is I'm going to read some of the fan fiction, and every so often I'll come back and go through the chat to see if anyone's asked anything. You guys are free to ask anything about me. You guys are free to recommend something for me to say out loud, since this is one of the only times I can like see what you want me to say and I show my voice. You don't really like fanfics? It's okay. It's okay, Roy. Okay. Bye. Roy. bkdk? Yeah, I love bkdk. And if you're here and you don't like bkdk, I'm really sorry, but you can talk in the chat and mute your mic since I'm going to be reading it out loud. Or you can just leave if you want. I won't mind. This fanfiction? I'm not really sure. Ask Maddie. They're the one who gave me the link to this fanfiction, and I just started reading it. I've only read like the first 4.5 chapters, but from what I've seen, I don't know. It has some angst. Oh, I love angst. Does it have fluff after? Because that's a good combination. You're in Izuoka? That's perfectly fine. As long as you guys don't hate on my ship, it's perfectly fine. Then it becomes smut. I really hope it doesn't become smut. If it does become smut, I'm going to just quietly skim through it, and then I'll continue reading where it's not. Fluff is when characters are being like cute with each other. Kind of like, you know how angst would be like maybe Bakugo's like, I don't deserve your love, and I don't deserve your love. Fluff could be right after. Deku would be like, no, it's okay, I love you, you're the one for me. I love you so much, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's like that. It's like fluffy. Bye, Linnig, I'm gonna go take a shower. Bakudeku's a huge comfort ship. I know, right? I love Bakudeku. You like Totodeku, but I kind of like Bakudeku. That's okay, Vanilla. There's some really heart-wrenching moments. This fanfiction is so fun so far, so I can't wait for that. Okay, guys, I'm going to start reading where I left off on the chapter. I'm on chapter 5 right now. If you guys don't know what's happening, ask someone in the chat. Okay, I'm gonna continue reading. Todoroki was surprisingly the one to speak up this time. Well, you did somewhat start it, he said with a shrug. Kachan's smirk grew wider. Even I see Hot's on my side, he said triumphantly. I'm not on any side, Todoroki simply stated. Shinso looked completely offended. You're supposed to be on my side. Why is that? Todoroki asked with a slightly teasing tone. I looked at him, slightly confused. Sure, Todoroki's gotten better at joking, but I've never heard him tease someone. Oh my gosh, do they like each other? That's cute. And Shinso, blushing, did nothing to clear up the confusion. A-hole, he mumbled, slightly shoving the other. What's that? Todoroki asked playfully. I looked at Ganchan to see if he had any clue what was happening, but he was just looking at me, just as confused. Why are you like this? Shinso asked with an eye roll. Because it's... Todoroki cut himself off, a faraway look in his eyes. Shinso was smiling wildly now. Shinso, that's so mean, I said, looking at the zombie Todoroki. He was mean first, he whined, pointing at the dual-haired boy. I gave him a pointed glare, and he reluctantly hit Todoroki in the back of the head, using pain to wake him up. You're the worst, he muttered, rubbing his head, where he was most likely still feeling a slight sting. The bell rang, cutting our conversation short. Thank goodness. I love my friends, but sometimes they can be a bit too gay. Much. Yeah, they can be a bit too much. That's what I meant to say. Ha! Coming from the gay boy himself. Shinso and Todoroki walked back to their desk, leaving me and Kachan at ours. I was grabbing my books when Kachan grabbed my wrist. Truth or dare? And I swear to goodness, if you chicken out and say truth, I'll blow your butt up right here. Oh, by the way, I don't swear, so I'm going to be censoring some of the words. Alright, back to the chat real quick. What do I think of Kiridaku? I think it's cute. I like it. They're like two cinnamon buns together. But there's a difference between thinking a ship is cute and actually shipping it for me. So I don't ship it, but I think it's cute. I just ship Bakudeku as a big comfort shit. It reminds me of IRL events. So I really oh, cool, Maddie. I really like Bakudeku because it's how I was introduced to the fandom. I was introduced to the fandom through watching a bunch of texting stories. And I guess those texting stories slowly turned into Bakudeku, which slowly turned into me knowing what the anime was. So then, from knowing all the characters and kind of falling in love with them, I started watching anime. Of course, with the knowledge that Bakudeku wasn't canon. And I didn't expect to see it at all, but seeing the anime just made me fall in love with Bakudeku even more and made me see why people ship it so much. How do I have the book? I don't. I'm reading Wattpad right now. It's an online site. Fanfictions. Anyway, I'm going to continue reading. Izuku's POV. Not gonna lie, I was pretty nervous to pick Dare. I mean, last time I had to choose, he didn't say anything, and I got stuck in his skirt all day. What could he possibly have up his sleeve now? Kachan, I feel like asking truth or dare is pretty pointless with each other at this point. It's pretty clear the whole game is just a power struggle. I pointed out with a nervous shrug. Shrug. Just freaking pick one, he said, annoyed. I looked down at the skirt I was still wearing and then back at him. I let out a long sigh before muttering, tear, obviously. He looked around the room quickly, mumbling something along the lines of freaking sassy before turning back to me. By now, everyone else had left to go get lunch. I dare you to get a piercing of my choice, he said with a smirk. Get a tongue piercing! I love tongue piercings. I want to get one in the future. You like Bakudeku because of their development? I love Bakudeku because of the development. There's so much development and depth behind it, honestly. I'd be so sad if there wasn't Bakudeku in the anime. Like, obviously, it's probably not going to be in the anime. But still, I'd be really sad if there wasn't any like, if they weren't at least friends. If they aren't at least friends by the end of the anime, if they aren't at least capable of being able to, like, give each other a hug without being annoyed, then... if they are able to give each other a hug without being annoyed at each other, or anything like that, just like a simple hug, then I will be satisfied. You can end the anime there. And just spawn next to a village. Good job, Maddie. You need to go. Oh, bye, Hugh23. I'm going to continue reading the Wattpad. My jaw dropped at his words. He can't. That's gotta be against the rules or something. He can't possibly think. He wants me to. No, wait. I can't. You're serious? I asked him, completely dumbfounded. He only nodded his head, his smirk growing. You can't do that. That isn't fair in the slightest. You know I have a fear of needles. Me too, might obey, but you know what? I still want to get a tongue piercing anyway, so. Wait, why do you have a fear of needles? You've broken your arms before. What? Mr. Bonebreaker is scared of needles? I said back in accusation. I've always been terrified of needles. My mother and multiple nurses would have to hold me down when I need shots as a child. Me too. My dad's really strong. He works out every single day, and my adrenaline rush had made it so I managed to overpower him when I tried to get a shot. It was so funny. I'm better at getting shots now. I'm able to just sit there quietly. I have to hug my mom, but it's fine. I'm better at getting shots now. I saw realization cross his face, and then guilt? I forgot about that, he simply stated. His voice was soft, like it was last night, when it was just the two of us in the commons. I audibly gulped and held back a wince while nodding my head. I'll do it, I said, my voice slightly wavering. His eyebrows shot up in surprise. Deku, you can't actually be. I cut him off before he could say anything else. So, Derek Hotchon, I'm not going to chicken out, I said to him. But, Deku, you're terrified of needles. When you had to get a flu shot when we were like 7, you refused to go without me. Then, when we got there, you were literally freaking bawling while clinging to me like a freaking koala, he pointed out. I have to admit, I was a little surprised he remembered that. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not. On one hand, it's sweet that he remembers, but on the other hand, it's super embarrassing. I'll be fine, Kachan. Seriously. I think it's what I have to lose, the writer of the story. I asked, trying to think about how I'd have to get it done. You're actually going to go through with this? He asked me skeptically. Jeez, it's like he's my mom or something. It's a little ridiculous. Yep, I said back. Gosh damn, even before I remembered how scared you were of needles, I didn't think you'd go through with it, he said quietly, more to himself than me. Apparently, just full of surprises today, I said with a shy smile and gesturing to the skirt and my shaved legs. He seemed to have forgotten the state of my uniform because his eyes went slightly wide when he looked down. He looked back up at my face. You're gonna be scared shizless, I guess, aren't you? He asked me. I sheepishly looked back at him, scratching the back of my neck. Definitely. I guess it's a good thing you'll be there, right, Kachan? Why would I say that? Why, for the love of everything, would I say that? He's going to think I'm weird now. Stupid Izuku. Yeah, I guess it is. Hold up. Was Kachan smiling at me? A soft smile? That I haven't seen since we were 5. He's just smiling. What's happening? Who broke him? I was in complete and utter shock. I didn't have a clue what I should say back. Thankfully, I didn't have to say anything. Midoriya, there you are. We both whipped our heads to the voice. Freaking Todoroni, stop ruining the tension between the two. People keep ruining the moments. Ugh. All right, Todoroni, you've ruined my moment too, and I'm going to go back to the chat. Oh, y'all are talking about bkdk. Alright. When Izuku said Bakugo when they had an actual conversation. Deku's admiration for Bakugo is adorable. The nurses are so MF confused when I just sit there so calm when they give me shots. And back then, it really don't faze me. Oh. Bakudeku definitely has more development than Izuoka. Despite you liking Izuoka, it does have a lot more development. I'd be really sad if Izuoka became true because they Ochako and Izuku don't really have a reason for being together other than like Ochako having a crush on him, and who wouldn't have a crush on Deku? Honestly, he's just such crush material. He works hard at everything he does, and he's cute, and he's ripped, and all of this. He's so dedicated to become a hero, and he's freaking best friends with All Might, so like, who wouldn't have a crush on him? Oh, Vanilla's back. It's like love at first sight, which doesn't exist. To be honest, I'm such a Deku simp. I'm not a Deku simp, despite me naming all these likes, all this stuff about him. I mean, I'll watch Deku edits and stuff, yeah, but that's probably only because I'm watching like some sort of Bakudeku reaction video. Why does he have a body that wants to screw you until the sun comes up, but a face that wants to make you breakfast in the morning? Sorry, I'm gonna keep reading. We both whipped our heads to the voice. Todoroki was standing in the doorway of the classroom, looking between Kachan and I with slightly furrowed eyebrows, his usually motionless face only barely giving away his confusion. I glanced back at Kachan and saw that his smile was officially gone, making me frown in turn. He looks nice with a smile. You know what? Maybe... Never mind. That's stupid. Were you looking for me? I asked the dual-haired boy, giving him a look that said I'd fill him in later. His impassive face quickly returned as he answered, Yeah, Shinso and I were starting to get worried. Oh, wow. I didn't mean for you guys to worry. I was just talking to Kachan. I said, looking at the angry blonde. It was like 2 minutes ago, didn't even happen. Just like last night when Kirishima showed up. I see, Todoroki said, shooting an apprehensive look at him. What'd you have to do? He asked, turning his eyes back to me. He's gonna get his belly button pierced, Kachan said with a nonchalant tone. I thought with the belly button piercing, okay. Todoroki's eyes widened at the same time mine did. I figured I'd have to get like an ear piercing or something. He's gonna freaking do what? Well, Shinso doesn't sound happy. He's getting his belly button pierced. Got a problem with that? Kachan asked with a raised eyebrow. He's terrified of needles. There's absolutely no way he'd agree to that, Shinso said. I've seen Shinso mad a couple of times. I haven't particularly liked them. It's not really good when you try messing with someone he cares about, friends or family. I was about to interject because, this argument is about me and all, but Kachan beat me to it. You already did, dumbass, he said smugly. Shinso turned to me in complete and utter shock. You're seriously going through with this? He asked me. I nodded my head hesitantly. For some stupid game of truth or dare? You're serious? This is seriously going too far, he said, looking at both of us. Whatever. It doesn't freaking concern you, Kachan said with an eye roll. You're fricking with one of my friends, so it kind of is my problem, Shinso said to the annoyed blonde. You know he can make decisions for himself, right? Kachan asked, getting a little heated. I really hope this doesn't turn into a physical fight. Not with you, he can't, Shinso said back, raising his voice slightly. I looked at him confused. Of course I can make my own decisions with Kachan, right? What the frick is that supposed to mean? Kachan basically yelled back. You are literally the blindest freaking person I've ever met. I'm assuming Shinso said that. Oh, whoa. I have to go back to the Bakugo. I'm a Bakugo sim too. Sam hates the living guts out of Deku. No, I love Deku. Milky Way Studios. I'm reading a fanfiction while people are talking about who they simp for in the chat, I guess. Kamijiro does have a stronger relationship than Izuoka. Favorite straight ship? Yeah. So many gay ships in anime. Chapter 7. Slight trigger warning. Mentions of depression. There's a trigger warning, so if you guys don't like mentions of depression, I would suggest you leave for now and come back in a bit to see if I'm done with this chapter, or you mute your mic and I'll tell you when the chapter's done in the chat, okay? Capiche? Again, there's a trigger warning, mentions of depression, so if y'all don't like that, mute for now and I'll tell you when it's done in the chat. Aight. Izuku's POV. You're literally the blindest freaking person I've ever met. They're both yelling at this point. How the hell am I blind? He's freaking looked up to you since you were toddlers. You said jump. He said how high. Then you had the freaking audacity to bully the shiz out of him for a majority of his life. And guess what? He still freaking adores you, you ignorant a-hole. He's made excuse after excuse for you. You scream at him, and it's, oh, he's having a bad day, or, oh, he probably didn't sleep well last night. The freaking length he goes to make sure nothing is your fault, to make sure it's his. Every time you yell at him for no reason, he takes it to heart. He tries to fix himself because clearly something's wrong. Do you even know how depressed he was in middle school? Do you even care? You've told him to freaking kill himself, and the only thing he could think about is how if he actually did, you'd get in trouble, and heaven forbid that happened because of him. He's literally the closest thing to an angel you're ever gonna get, Katsuki Bakugo. And guess what? You don't freaking deserve him, and you never will. Nothing you could ever possibly do will ever make up for how much of a shizzy person you've been to him. Todoroki, Kachan, and I were all just staring at Shinso in silent shock. I've never seen him go off like this before. He looked down for a few seconds, and I thought he was finally done. But then he brought his head back up. He seemed calmer now, looking Kachan dead in the eyes, and his voice back to a normal level. You're a terrible person. You're no better than any other villain. No wonder you were the one they took, he said, his voice full of hatred. My jaw dropped at his words. Most of his yelling was uncalled for, and I was already planning on yelling at him. But that last part he had to add? That was too far. Way too far. Before I could say anything, or rather yell at him, he grabbed my wrist and he grabbed mine and Todoroki's wrist and dragged both of us out of the classroom and down the hallway. I was trying to pull my wrist out of his grip, but I unsuccessful, so eventually I just used a tiny bit of one for all. It was a bit violent, but it didn't end up hurting anyone. Shinso and Todoroki were both just a little surprised. They both turned to face me with puzzled expressions. What the heck, Shinso? He had been able to drag me pretty far away from our classroom, so we were now just in a deserted hallway, pretty close to the cafeteria. What? He asked me, confused. That was uncalled for and completely out of line, I shouted at him. Gosh, some of that stuff. I told you guys that stuff. You weren't supposed to ever bring it up, let alone scream it in the middle of our school. I felt the tears threatening to spill, but I was determined to not let them. Midoriya, I didn't mean shut it. You can't take it back. It doesn't matter what you say now, I said, starting to walk backwards away from them. Midoriya, no, Todoroki. I don't know what's happening with you two lately, but you and I both know if anyone could have shut him up, it was you. Hell, I probably could have shut him up if I tried hard enough, but I can really only hate myself so much right now. So I'm mad at you two, because I kind of just need to be alone right now. I think that's what it's. Oh, I said, still backing away. I was just rambling at this point, with no clue what I was really saying, but the words just kept falling out. No idea what he's saying either. I turned and started to sprint down the hallway. I heard Shinso call after me, but only once, so I assumed Todoroki stopped him. I wasn't sure where I was going until I ended up in front of our classroom door. I gingerly opened it, looking for a certain blonde, and found the room empty. I left confused, but was still determined to find him. Whoa, that was a freaking bomb. Bomb dropped. Y'all, is there reactions for that in the freaking chat? Poor Bakugo, yeah. Oh, yay, Muffin's here. Bakugo's fine with Kemo. Oh, yeah. Hold on for a second. Damn, that was a whole entire. I mean, I know Shinso hated Bakugo, but like, did he really need to go that far? The T, yeah, the T really just went up through the ceiling. Oh gosh, how we came at the same time. Damn, it's like y'all are soulmates or something. No. Maybe. Anyway. Who didn't, in your opinion? What happened? You don't think so? You don't think so what? You don't think so about the depression mentions? Oh, I don't know. Bakugo needs a hug. He does. I'll hug you, Baku babe. Don't cry. Don't cry, Kachan. If my cousin were awake, she'd probably be copying right now. Literally earlier, I was like, no, Kachan, no, don't go, don't go. And she was copying me. It was so cute. Anyways, continuing with the what time is it? What time is it in Utah? Oh, it's 5. I plan to go to sleep at like 4. Oh well. Guess I'll keep reading. I first went to the cafeteria, careful to avoid Shinso and Todoroki, who thankfully weren't there. I went up to Kachan's usual table, but he was missing from there as well. I asked Kirishima if he'd seen him, but he hadn't either. He told me to check the roof, because that's where he'd usually skip, and if he wasn't there, maybe his dorm. I thanked the cheerful redhead and headed for the roof. I pushed open the heavy door leading to the roof, causing a loud squeaking noise. I winced. I walked forward, hearing the door slam close behind me. I found the blonde I was looking for, leaning against the railing on the far side of the area, looking at the UA grounds. I slowly made my way to him. Kachan? I softly asked, once I was only a few feet away from him. I didn't get a response as I reached the railing, leaning my back against it. How'd you find me? He asked in a surprisingly soft voice. I've heard him using a soft voice a few times in the past 24 hours, but this was different. He sounded lost. Kirishima said this is where you'd come to skip sometimes, I said gently. I didn't want to throw the spiky-haired boy under the bus, but I didn't want to lie to Kachan, especially right now. Freaking shizzy hair, I heard him mutter to himself before he spoke up. I don't skip. That part was a lie. I come up here to get away from all the idiots we have to deal with on a daily basis, he explained, not reasoning or hardening his voice even once. Even when saying that Kirishima lied about him, I furrowed my eyebrows in concern. I was worried, but I couldn't help but notice that he had said we, implying that I wasn't one of those idiots he comes up here to get away from. For some reason, that made my chest feel all warm and fuzzy. Neither of us said anything for a few minutes. I wanted to find him so I could talk to him, and here I am with nothing to say. Goodness, I really am a Deku. Don't say that. What? Mr. Bakugo mind reader? Mind reader? A bandage, nervous hair tuck. Don't cry, Kachan. Yes, cover Bakugo. Whoa, I'm trying to speak in a really soft voice here because one, I don't want to wake anyone up, and two, this is a really calm conversation right now. Izuku's POV. Don't say that. Crap, I was muttering again. What? I asked him. Why would he not want me to call myself the very nickname he'd used since we were kids? Is it true? He asked, completely changing the subject. I gave him an even more confused look. Is what true? Is everything true? Everything that freaking Grape said. Was it true? Were you actually depressed in middle school? Was I the reason? He asked, finally turning away from the view and looking at me. I couldn't help my slight gasp at the sight of him. His eyes. He was crying. Kachan, I said gently, trying to reach out to him. He smacked my hand away and moved back. No. Answer the question. Were you depressed? He asked, looking me in my eyes. I held his gaze. Yes. He sucked in his breath. Because of me? He asked. I've never heard someone sound so downright scared. It made answering him just that much harder. Yes. He turned away from me like I had slapped him, leaning against the railing and putting his head in his hands. Shiz. But, Kachan, no. Stop. He was right. You're always making excuses for me, and you're still freaking doing it, he yelled. He let out a shaky breath. You have to stop, he said quietly. Listen, Deku, Izuku, Midoriya, whatever the frick I'm supposed to call you. I'm not a good person. I'm a horrible person. I'm a horrible person to you. Yet here you are, trying to comfort me. Shinso was right. You're a freaking angel. And I don't deserve you. And I never will. So just stop, he said, looking back at me. Look, Kachan, there was a lot going on in middle school for both of us, and I said freaking stop! He snapped at me, causing me to visibly flinch. He saw and let out a sigh, dropping his head into his hands again. That's it. If he won't listen to me, then I'll make him. I closed the few feet that were in between us and grabbed a fistful of the front of his shirt, pulling him to face me. He's taller than me, so he slightly hunched over. I'm sorry, that part's funny. His face was pure shock at my actions. Now fricking shut up and listen to me, I said, nearly yelling, but trying not to, seeing as we were only a few inches apart now. You did some shizzy things in elementary and middle school, and you haven't been too great in high school either, I stated, but instantly regretting it. That's not. Jeez, I'm clearly not good at this type of stuff. But you know that, I said, scrunching my eyes closed and taking a deep breath. I relaxed my face and opened my eyes. Look, what I'm trying to say is that even though you did bad things in the past, doesn't mean you're a bad person now. Our past actions don't necessarily have to define us, as long as we don't let them. You clearly feel terrible for everything you did. Look at you! You cried. I said playfully, causing him to show the faintest sign of a smile. Every day is a new chance to start over and be who you want to be. All you have to do is take the chance, I said, trailing off, finally noticing how close we were. While trying to get him to actually listen to me, I had balled both of my hands into the jacket of his school uniform and brought him down to my height. And over the course of my mini speech, our faces had gotten even closer. We were mere centimeters away from each other. Oh, that's fruity. That's fruity. Anyways, back to the chat. Someone doesn't like corn dogs in here. I'm not used to shipping real people together. Oh, by the way, y'all are free to ship me with like whoever the frick you want. So, a glow squid. Where's Deku? No, Baku Kim. Kiss, 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 kiss. Mwah, mwah each other. Sonic scratches my I mean, I guess that's allowed. Very fruity. Well, Deku gets Bakugo for the lava. Take good care of it for me. You guys are so funny. Okay. Back to the serious fanfiction. Anyway, I was slightly panting due to how worked up I had gotten trying to explain that he didn't have to be a bad person, and our breath was mixing on the tip of our lips. I saw him flick his gaze down to my lips, causing me to do the same. He tilted his head, just the tiniest bit, as I subconsciously did the same. I swear I felt the faintest ghost of a kiss before the door to the roof was freaking slammed open, and a handful of our classmates emerged onto the roof, causing me to jump away at least 3 feet from him, and I couldn't help but notice that he hadn't moved back in the slightest, because your classmates are poop. Your classmates are poop and keep ruining the moments. Your classmates are poop. Get rid of them. Someone get rid of the classmates. Time to make a new class. Time to get a new classmate. Your classmates are poop. Make out. Hardcore makeouts. Your classmates are poop. These classmates are poop. But Bakugo didn't move. Bites lip cutely. I'm just kidding. Hey, you did find him, Kirishima said, walking over to where we were both standing. I was blushing like crazy, as countless thoughts of what almost happened went running through my head. The redhead wrapped an arm around Kachan's shoulders, which was quickly pushed off. Hey, bro. Whoa, were you crying? He asked, his voice full of concern. The other students, Mina, Sarah, and Kaminari, became very alert at hearing this. You were crying? Oh my gosh, what happened? Wait, you can cry? Kaminari was quickly smacked by Mina for his comment. Kachan just scoffed at all of them, trying to turn away, but Kirishima was persistent. Bro, seriously, what happened? We're your friends. You can talk to us, he said gently. Oh, gently. Sorry. You're not my freaking friend, Shizzy here, Kachan said weakly. Kirishima placed his hand on the blonde's shoulder and wasn't pushed away this time. I can't help the pang of jealousy that shot through me. Bakugo, when are you just going to admit that you're stuck with us? He asked with a light chuckle. Yeah, sorry, dude, but we're invested at this point, Kaminari added with a shrug. Apparently, there's a no return or exchange policy. I wasn't aware of this beforehand, but I guess we're just stuck at this point, Mina said with a dramatic sigh. I actually saw the side of Kachan's mouth quirk up. Kirishima, Kaminari, and Mina all looked expectantly at Zero. Um, I don't have anything funny or clever to say, but I agree with the other three, he said uncertainly. Mina face mom. They started to tell Sarah how lame he was. A small smile made its way onto my face as I watched them. He'd be okay. I started to make my way over to the door when Kirishima called out to me, Hey, Midoriya, where are you going? I'm going to class. Something you should all probably consider, I said with a joking look. I'll pass. Want to hang out here with us? I know you were looking for Bakugo before. Did you need to talk to him or something? He asked, looking between us. I smiled at them, but Kachan was looking at the ground, purposefully not looking at me. Nah, thanks for the offer, but I can just talk to Kachan later. He has to take me to get my belly button pierced, I said. His head snapped up and I gave him a meaningful look, and he seemed to get. Before they could all freak out about the fact that I'm apparently getting my belly button pierced, I was out the door and down the stairs. Now that I wasn't worried about Kachan, all I had to worry about was the needle I'll have going through a sensitive part of my body. Oh joy! We went from serious to funny in 2 minutes. Sero is a hella underrated. Yay! Patches fixed their keyboard. It was cute. I'm just reading the chat right now. I think Bakugo's having a seizure right now. Recorded. I'm a mind shaft. Good job. All right, I'm going to continue with the fanfiction. We're on chapter 9. The rest of the class passed by in sort of a blur. Kachan and his friends never came back to class. Not that I really expected them to. Shinso and Todoroki seemed to understand that I needed space, so they steered away from me. That left me with Uraraka and Ida, which didn't bother me at all. We had started to grow apart a bit, and it was definitely nice to hang out with them again. The three of us walked back to the dorms together and ended up going back to Uraraka's room to work on some homework. Ida helped me with some math, and I helped them both with English. Afterwards, we just sat around and talked. What happened with you and Shinso and Todoroki? There was some very clear tension after lunch, Uraraka pointed out. Wait, what about the assignment? Aren't the four of them working together? That's gonna be uncomfortable. Oh, sorry, I'm moving around. My bad. I shifted in my seat, slightly uncomfortable with the change in topic. It's kind of a long story, I said. She nodded her head and signaled me to go on. I released a sigh, but decided that she would just persist until I told her. So I came early. I told them both about the game with Kacha, not going into the details like I did with Todoroki and Shinso. I told him about the piercing and that Shinso wasn't happy about it, which ended in yelling and him calling Kacha a villain. Uraka gasped at that, saying that Shinso, of all people, should know what it's like to be falsely accused of being a villain. That is true. I just nodded and continued the story, ending on the roof and Kacha and I making up, but leaving out the near making out, which should have happened. Except your classmates are poop. The near making out. I love that he calls it that. My favorite Ida ship? Probably Ida X Ochako. Blue thing. Um, Bakugo is one of the moderators. Oh yeah, I also like Ida and Todoroki. The only thing you can do as a moderator is like, I don't know, remove comments, put users in timeout, and hide users on the channel or whatever. Yeah. Ooh. All right, we'll do that. Y'all can look at my forehead. Momojiro or Kamajiro? I like both. Okay, I'm going back to the fanfiction. Ida proceeded to go on a rant. Ida proceeded to go on a rant about how all three of us are portraying rebellious and near unacceptable behavior, but Uraraka and I both seemed to tune him out and started to whisper to each other. What didn't you tell us? She said, with a knowing sort of look. I slightly flushed at the question. What? I told you both everything, I lied. She murmured a or a noise while dramatically nodding her head. I'll figure it out. Don't underestimate me, Deku, she said, an innocent smile forming on her face. My face seemed pale. I didn't understand her at all. She's totally going to figure out the near makeout that happened. Time skip. I was back in my own dorm around 6, having finished our homework and Ida's lecture. I spent the rest of the night just roaming my room, not stopping to do really anything in particular. I had some soft music playing and I was quietly singing along. 3 hours flew by, and I was starting to get ready for bed. My plans were halted, however, when a knock sounded throughout my room. I turned my music down just a tad and made my way to the dorm door. On the other side stood a certain blonde-haired boy wearing black jeans, his signature skull tank top, and jacket. Kachan? I asked, slightly confused as to why he was outside my dorm so close to curfew. Actually, the skull is on a t-shirt, and his tank top is, his tank top's blank, so, yeah. I reveal. Y'all can see my eyes. Oh, I should put the camera down a bit. Damn, Patches. Keep spamming. I don't want to say, but. Aw, I'm a stupid girl. No, you're not. Thank you. That means a lot. What was what? What was it? Hi, welcome back, Makia-chan. You'll see that. I hope you did, because it is. Anyways, back to the Wattpad. Well, you're gonna let me in or what? He asked, looking down the hall to see if anyone else was out and about at the moment. Still confused, I opened the door wider, letting him into my dorm. During the few hours I'd cleaned my dorm. Not that it was dirty in the first place. We had just moved in a few days ago. Damn, my room would be so dirty. in just a few days. What brings you here? I asked him, still very confused as to why he was at my door. I was worried for his answer. With everything that happened today, he could be here for any various reasons. He could be here to yell at me for nearly kissing him. He could be coming to tell me if he wants to stop the game. He could simply be here to discuss our project. Or he could simply be here to discuss our project. Or, he could be here because he wants to continue the makeout. I mean, that's an option too. My face? Thanks. This is what my face looks like. I'm glad you like it. I'm ugly, so. Bakugo looks mad, does he? I think he does. The blue thing, like Kachan. Actually, Bakugo is a friend of mine. Yeah, I know them, so that's kind of why I made him moderator. But I prefer. Oh, if you're wait, they kissed? They didn't kiss. They were really close to it though. Really, really close. And then their poopy classmates came and stopped them unexpectedly. It could, but there's not really much you can do. Fine, I'll make you moderator just so that Bakugo will stop saying that he's better than you. There's not really much you can do as moderator, so why not? But I'm not making anyone else moderator, so don't ask. And I love all the Baku. I love all of them. If you're talking about Baku Deku, I personally think they'd be switches, but I love Baku Bottom. I love Baku Bottom. I love Baku Power Bottom. Just kidding. Okay, back to the fanfiction. If I'm being perfectly honest, I'm scared that he wants nothing to do with me or this game anymore. We hadn't had a civilized conversation in years before last night, and now we're nearly getting along. I've missed my childhood best friend. I don't want to lose him again. You have to complete your dare, remember? He asked, a smirk on his face. I swear he's either scowling or smirking. There's no in between. Except for the rare smiles I seem to be finding. We're gonna do that now? But what about curfew? My voice went up an octave as I asked it. We're gonna do that now? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Nonchalant. Baku Bottom Supremacy! Let's be friends? Sure. Let's be friends. I don't have anything to talk to you on though, so sorry. Okay, I'm going back to the fanfiction. He responded with an eye roll. Live a little. Jeez, Midoriya. I physically flinched at hearing my last name come from him. It just wasn't right. Please, if you won't call me Deku anymore, at least call me Izuku. We've known each other since diapers. It's just wrong coming from you. Besides, I still call you Kachan. I can't even imagine calling you Bakugo. It's just weird, you know? But I mean, if you want me to, I could. I don't want to. I was cut off by a hand covering my mouth and the blonde's face forming a teasing smile. Okay, I'll call you Izuku. Just stop rambling, he said, rolling his eyes again. But he didn't seem annoyed, just amused. My face heated up from hearing him say my name, from his closeness, from his teasing demeanor. Crap, I'm too gay for this. Mr. Gay Boy. Ooh, I can do that. Oh, frick. No, don't do that. Oh well. We were 5. No, don't, no, not though we were 5. You're so mean. Since diapers. I have this headcanon that when they were like babies and their parents were like best friends, so they like bathed together. So technically they have seen each other naked. That's just my little headcanon. It's not meant to be sexual anyway. It's just supposed to be cute. I added that little part, that last part on. Anyways, back to the fanfiction. Mr. Game Boy. Crap, I'm too gay for this. And you can still call me Kachan. I actually prefer that, he said quietly, avoiding eye contact. He still hadn't removed his hand, so all I could do was nod my head as I stared at him with widened eyes. He looked up and suddenly seemed to remember that his hand was covering my mouth. Because he slowly removed it, but didn't bring it to his side, his hand traveled from my mouth to gently cradle my cheek. I was semi-aware of his other hand slipping behind my back and ever so slightly bringing me closer to him. I was completely expecting him to kiss me. I actually wanted him to. I'm not outing this one, guys. We weren't as close as we were on the roof, still a few inches apart, but our bodies were flush against each other just like before. I was expecting a kiss. What I wasn't expecting was for him to suddenly wrap his arms around me and pull me into a tight hug. Ah, wholesome. Wholesome. I mean, I was expecting fruity makeouts, but hugs are just as good. I was stunned for only a second before wrapping my arms around him just as tightly, burying my head into the crook of his neck. And we just stayed like that, holding on to each other like we were each other's lifeline. This is adorable. Thanks for giving this to me, Maddie. I haven't found a good bkdk fanfiction on Wattpad in forever. I like Undertale. I used to be in the Undertale fandom. Nice ships. Sans is actually British. What does a British accent sound like? You want some tea, kid? Would you like to join me for a spot of tea, kid? This is my younger brother. So I'm sorry, it's funny. You guys like my forehead? You want to have a bad time, mate? You ready to go to hell, mate? On days like these, mates like you should go to hell. I'm sorry, I can't do a British accent. Okay, we're on chapter 10. Izuku's POV. We stayed like that, just hugging each other for the first time in years. For maybe 5 minutes? I'm not sure. Neither of us bothered to check the time. Neither of us really wanted to separate either. When I tried to pull back, solely because I was worried Cotton was getting uncomfortable and probably angry, he quickly pulled me back to him. I was shocked for only a minute, before eventually just giving in and letting him hug me until he wanted to part. Once we finally did part, we didn't talk about it. He grabbed my wrist and pulled me over to my window, causing me to look at him with a perplexed look. Kachan, what are we doing? I asked him. I knew we had to go get my piercing, but why are we going to my window? We have to climb out. It's after curfew. We aren't even supposed to be out of our dorms, let alone the building, he said, throwing an eye roll in my direction. That's when I really remembered the gravity of the situation we were in. I was about to sneak out of the dorms after curfew with my childhood friend turned bully turned something, and I was going to get a belly button piercing. All Might's going to kill me. My mother is going to kill me. Uh, Kachan? I said hesitantly. He stopped messing with my window, which was now open with the screen nearly off, and looked at me with a worried face. Yeah, worried? No. Is this really such a good idea? I mean, sneaking out and stuff. Can't we get into a lot of trouble for this? I don't want anyone to get mad at either of us, I said, nervously wringing my hands together. He seemed to relax when he figured out why I was nervous. It'll be fine, I promise, he said, grabbing my wrist again. If we do happen to get caught, you'll be with me. I'll just say it was my idea and I forced you to go along. Pretty believable, honestly, he said with a casual shrug. My jaw dropped at him. You can't take all the blame. You aren't forcing me to do anything, I argued. He gave me a slightly startled look, like he wasn't expecting my outburst. Izuku, trust me. It'll be okay, he said, making direct eye contact with me. Okay, then we were off. Bruh, him saying Izuku is like so different. Deku's fine here, lip bite. Y'all are such Deku sims. On days like these, mates go to hell. I believe in Sayek's badge of supremacy. What? Are you a simp? No one here knows how to spell forehead, bro. Everyone's going forehead. Y'all think my forehead is like 4 inches long or what? Okay.